Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Putri Dewi Lestari, and I will present our group work for chapter 6, reference. Okay. For number 1, describe the process of establishing coreference. Discuss some of the factors that complicate the process. How are coreferential process related to inference generating process? So, establishing co-reference entails in connecting an anaphor, such as a pronoun or noun phrase, to its referent within a discourse, a process influenced by several factors. Syntactic placement, where subjects typically hold more focus than objects, aid in this connection. Additionally, the narrative structure impact is with recent reference being simpler to link than distance one. Semantic elements, including typicality within a category, also affect reference is. Furthermore, implicit causality in verbs can prioritize one character over another. General word knowledge guides the appropriateness of divine and indefined articles and enables the use of unheralded pronouns. These elements contribute to the complexity of the process, requiring listener to infer relationship and meaning from context. Co-referential processes are closely linked to inference generation, as they often entail deducing the intended reference based on the contextual clues and word knowledge. And for number 2, how many different kind of anaphor are there? Why do we have so many? When do the different kind of anaphor get used? What makes some anaphor easier to process than others? What characteristic of anaphors matters? How do characteristic of the antecedent affect coreference? Anaphor encompasses various types, including pronouns. For example, he, she, it. Demonstrative, for example, this, that. Reflexive, for example, myself, himself. And divide noun phrase, for example, the book, my car. These distincts facilitate efficient communication and express referential relationship within discourse. The selection of anaphor depends on factors such as discourse context, grammatical rules, and pragmatic consideration. Pronouns are typically employed to refer back to previously mentioned entities, while defined noun phrases are utilized when referencing specific entities already similar to the conversation participant. Some anaphor may be easier to process than others due to factors like frequency of usage, salience in the discourse, and syntactic complexity. Pronouns, for example, are generally easier to process due to their higher frequency and lower cognitive effort required for interpretation compared to defined noun phrase. Important characteristics of anaphor include their syntactic form, semantic content, and contextual relevance, which influence the ease of linking an anaphor to its antecedent and understanding it within the discourse. The attributes of the antecedent, such as its salience, accessibility, and syntactic role, can impact coreference resolution. Anaphor are more likely to be interpreted as referring to antecedents that are prominent and easily accessible in the discourse. Additionally, syntactic cues like grammatical rule and linear proximity also play a role in coreference resolution. And then number 3, describe implicit causality and explain how it affects coreference. The phenomenon known as implicit causality, or IC, occurs when certain interpersonal verbs like bore and fear, induce bias toward either their subject or object in a causally dependent clause when followed by an explanation. This concept has been explored by researchers such as Au in 1986, Brown and Fish in 1983, Garvey and Karamazov in 1974, and Hartshorne in 2014. Implicit causality influence focus and anaphoric reference, with language scientists agreeing that it affects the difficulty of anaphoric expression in referring to the characters involved in described event. Study by Gardham, Traxler, and Parkil and Grasenberg in 1996, Gary Jimenez, Kaplan, and Regulu in 2006, Long and Delay in 2000, McDonald and McWhinney in 1995, and Van Berkum, Cornev, Otten, and Newland in 2007 support this notion. Number 4. Why it is weird to say the pastor conducted the wedding ceremony and the bride looked beautiful? The sentence of the pastor conducted the wedding ceremony and the bride looked beautiful might strike as odd due to the centering theory, which elucidates how our mind processes information during language comprehension. This theory posits that our attention naturally gravitates toward the most salient or central information in a sentence. In this sentence, the central focus is on the wedding ceremony. When we encounter a mention of a wedding ceremony, our mind intensively prioritizes elements directly related to the event, the exchange of vows, the commitment set between partners, and the union of two individuals. These components represent the essence of a wedding. However, in this sentence, provide the mention of the bride appearance in a separate clause creates a discordance. It almost appeared as if a mention of the bride's beauty competes for attention with the central event, its ceremony itself. By including the bride's appearance within the same sentence as the ceremony, it suggests that her beauty holds equal or even greater significance than the ceremony. This contradicts the typical understanding of weddings, where the solemnity and celebration surrounding the union take precedence over individuals' appearance. Thus, the structure of the sentence disrupts the expected focus on the central event, introducing an unexpected emphasis on the bride appearance. Number 5. When it's a bad idea to use highly specific or explicit anaphor and why? Using highly specific or explicit anaphor, such as a full noun phrase or proper name, would be inappropriate and violate a discourse convention when the reference entity is already highly salient and accessible in the current discourse context. Explicit anaphor are more suitable when the reference accessibility is relatively low or ambiguous given the context. If the reference was recently mentioned, is the current topic of discuss, or is ambiguously identifiable within a context with few potential references. Employing an explicit anaphor would be redundant and overly specified. This redundancy disrupts discourse coherence and processing by unnecessarily emphasizing already prominent reference, which goes against conversational maxim of brevity and clarity. Using less explicit options, such as pronouns and demonstrative, allows for smoother and more felicitous reference tracking when the reference is highly salient. Explicit anaphoric forms should be reserved for referring to lower salience or ambiguous entities that require reactivation or disambiguation. Number 6. What does binding theory say about coreference? Describe experimental results that test doubt on some aspect of binding theory. Binding theory is in linguistics describe the constraint on the interpretation of anaphor pronouns reflexive and their attendance within a sentence. According to binding theory, there are 3 principles. Principle A states that an anaphor must be bound in its governing category, requiring a reflexive pronoun to have attendance within the same clause. Principle B assert that a pronoun must be free within its governing category, meaning it cannot have its antecedent within the same clause. Principle C extends the notion stating that a pronoun must be free not only within its governing category but also within its binding domain, particularly concerning the binding of pronouns by quantified noun phrase. However, experimental findings have raised questions about certain aspects of binding theory. First is cross-linguistic difference. Some language, like Finnish and Hungarian, exhibit binding patterns for affixing and pronouns that divide from the prediction of binding theory compared to English. And the second is ambiguity resolution. Research indicates that human language processing relies on factors beyond the strict constraints of binding theory, such as contextual information, pragmatic consideration, and word knowledge, to resolve coreference ambiguity. And the third is processing difficulty. Studies suggest that the processing of reflexive and pronouns is influenced by factors like syntactic complexity, word order, and discourse structure, which are not explicitly addressed in traditional binding theory. Number 4, variability in judgment. There is a variability in judgment regarding the acceptability of certain coreference construction, indicating that binding principle might not fully capture the intricacies of real-world language usage. In summary, while binding theory offers valuable insight into a coreference principle, experimental evidence underscores the importance of more nuanced understanding that incorporates a broader range of linguistic and cognitive factors. Last is number 7, compare and contrast of the memory-focused model centering theory and the informational load hypothesis. Memory-focused model. These models aim to elucidate how individuals store and retrieve information during language processing. It examines the allocation of memory resource to linguistic elements such as word, phrase, sentences. The model delves into how our cognitive system manage the cognitive load imposed by linguistic information during both comprehension and production stage. And then the second one is centering theory. Centering theory devotes into the organization of discourse and the significance pronouns. For example, he, she, it, in maintaining coherence. It's explore the relationship between the choice of pronouns and the central focus of attention in a conversation. The theory provides insight into how speakers and listeners track reference across sentences and uphold a coherent mental representation of the discourse. The last is informational hypothesis. This hypothesis posits that the processing difficulty of a sentence is contingent upon the amount of information it conveys. Sentences featuring complex structures or extensive content, such as like lengthy noun phrase or embed clause, may impose a higher cognitive load on the listener or reader. Researchers investigate how various sentence structure influence comprehension and memory retention. Okay, maybe that's all from me. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.